Okay, so we cannot divide by 0. That's what we just discussed. Look at my equations on this note sheet. Where are my x's? They're in the bottom of fractions. So because my x's are in the bottoms of fractions, I have to do an extra step to make sure that I am not dividing by 0. So go ahead and throw your name on here. The second hour. Every single problem here, it's not going to have 2 solutions. It's going to have 1 solution, but we are also going to have a restriction. So our solution is going to be what x does equal. And then our restriction to our equation is what x cannot equal. It's not allowed to equal. Okay, how we solve for what x cannot equal is we are going to set the denominator. Set denominator, I'm just going to abbreviate that. Not equal to 0, and solve. Because our denominators cannot be equal to 0, because we cannot have a 0 in the bottom of a fraction, because we can't divide by 0, and fractions are division. Okay, so we're solving our equations. There's going to be 1 extra step at the beginning to get that x out of the denominator. And then we will also solve to figure out what our x's cannot equal. Because we have those x's in the denominator, we have to do that. Anytime we have a variable in the denominator, that is something that we are going to have to do. In Algebra 1, the number that you have in the denominator of your fraction is never going to be the same number as what you get as your solution. So we're just solving this as like a preparatory step. In Algebra 2, which you will take when you are juniors, you are going to have occasions where the solution you get is one of your restrictions, and you have to say, wait, that cannot be my solution. So we are just getting in the habit of, in Algebra 1, adding that in now, because it's something that you will have to do in the future. So, with that, we are going to go ahead and get started. So, moving down, our first problem. We have 12 over x plus 5 equals 4. The first thing that I am going to do is I'm going to get that x plus 5 out of my denominator. The opposite of dividing is multiplying. So I'm going to multiply both sides by x plus 5. When I multiply by x plus 5, I need to multiply the entire side by x plus 5. So I'm going to put it in parentheses. Sorry, I zoomed out. So I'm going to put that x plus 5 in parentheses. Okay, these x plus 5s cancel each other out. X plus 5 over x plus 5, those cancel each other out. So on the left side of my equation, I just have 12. And on the right side of my equation, I have equals 4 times x plus 5. Most of us generally tend to like solving for x when it's on the left, so I'm going to go ahead and flip that around. I'm going to write 4 times x plus 5 equals 12. Okay, and then I'm going to distribute, solve for x. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 5 is 20. So I get 4x plus 20 equals 12. And I just solve it like a normal equation. I subtract 20 from both sides. I get 4x equals 12 minus 20 is negative 8. And I divide both sides by 4. And I get x equals negative 2. So after you get that x out of the denominator, it's just a normal equation with distribution. We've known how to solve those since 1.4 or 5, I don't remember which one. So that is our solution, is x equals negative 2. Okay. Additionally, we need to solve for a restriction, which is what x cannot equal. So we have to set up the equation for that, and you have to know that this is always how you set up the equation. You take whatever was in the bottom of the fraction. So in this one, it's x plus 5. I'm going to do it right here. And you say that cannot equal 0. So it's an equal sign with a slash through it. So you say x plus 5 cannot equal 0. And then we are going to solve that equation. So I'll subtract 5 from both sides. I'll get x cannot equal 0 minus 5 is negative 5. And that will be my restriction. Please hold. I swallowed that tea wrong. Yeah. Hey, any questions? Okay, I think I'm good. So, let's look at the next one then. So, same first step. We get that 2x minus 3 out of the denominator. We're always going to put it in parentheses, multiply both sides by it. So, I'll multiply both sides by that 2x minus 3. On the left side, these cancel. So I've got negative 45 equals 5 times 2x minus 3. I'm going to go ahead and do that a flip around. And do 5 times 2x minus 3 equals negative 45. From there, I'm going to distribute. So 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. That is equal to negative 45. From there, I can add 15 to both sides. So I still have 10x on the left. Negative 45 plus 15 is negative 30. And I'll divide both sides by 10. I'll get x equals negative 3. Okay. Any questions on my solution there? Alright, what is on the bottom of my fraction? 2x minus 3. So we take that expression, and we are going to set it not equal to 0. Okay, I'm going to pause the video and go answer the phone. I'm back, video. Hey, what is the first thing that you guys did to solve this? Add 3. Yep. So add 3 to both sides. We've got 2x cannot equal 0 plus 3 is 3. Then what do we need to do? Divide by 2. We are going to leave this as x cannot equal 3 halves. Okay, I'll write it bigger down here. X cannot equal 3 halves. 3 over 2. We are not going to change it to 1 1/2 because mixed fractions like that are disgusting and never the most practical thing to do. Okay? So we're not going to change it to a mixed fraction because I hate mixed fractions. We are also not going to change it to a decimal because for this one, a decimal would be exact because 3/2 is 1.5. So that would be exact. But let's say it was 2/3. That's 0.666666666 continuing. If we were ever to have to round, keeping it as a fraction is the better option. So unless you hear from me otherwise, as a general rule, you will keep things as fractions, not turn them to decimals. And never turn them to mixed fractions. Okay, questions? Hey, and then the last one we've got here is 6 over x equals -3. What's different about this one? What's that? What's different about this one than the two we've seen? It's just x on the bottom. So there's still there were x's on the bottom here and here, but this one it was x and some other stuff, x and a lot of other stuff. This one is just x on the bottom. So that means to multiply, we just need to multiply by x. So multiply by x, multiply by x. Thank you. And then these will cancel. I didn't put it in parentheses because you don't have to put it in parentheses because it's just by itself. So we've got 6 equals -3x. I'm going to flippity-flop that around and do -3x equals 6. Oh. And I'll divide both sides by -3. I will get x equals -2. So that will be my solution. Okay, for my restriction, what is in the bottom of my fraction? X, just x. So just x is what cannot equal 0. So I don't need to do anything to solve that. My restriction is just x cannot equal 0, okay? Any questions right now? Okay, glue these puppies into your notebook. Bye, video. It was nice knowing you.